Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson, and so excited to bring this story to you because just north of our border in Canadistan, because that is what Justin Trudeau has turned Canada into, we have a massive win coming from Alberta. The Premier, Danielle Smith, who has given us a number of great things that have come out of Canada. She has blocked some of the green policies by Justin Trudeau. She also, remember, was the first actual leader of a province or a country that came out and apologized to people about the jab and the forcing of the jab upon the populace. Danielle Smith has done a number of things right, but this latest move has the mainstream or mainstream media, as I like to call it, the MSN and liberals howling. This out of the gateway pundit, Canadian province of Alberta bars children from sex change surgery, puberty blockers, and bans men from women's sports. This is great news. All over the world, conservatives are implementing everyday common sense policies that get slandered in the media as radical, extreme, far right, and other bad names. This out of the gateway pundit. And obviously, these things are just common sense. I mean, who in their right mind thinks that a child who's 10 years old should be getting a reassignment surgery? The whole thing just boggles my mind. Danielle Smith of Alberta unveils sweeping changes to policies related to students and gender identity, meaning common sense restriction on gender reassignment surgeries and hormone treatments. Alberta's no-nonsense guidelines would be the strictest introduced in Canada, which says a lot. The new policies have utterly enraged both Ottawa and the MSM alike. Premier Danielle Smith on the 10th paragraph. And she said, "We want to make sure that those adult decisions are made as adults. Issues involving kids' reproductive health are not a political stunt." Meanwhile, Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre has built a commanding lead in opinion polls against Liberal Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, mostly by hammering the government on cost of living issues. And obviously, everybody goes back to the economy, people. I mean, this is the reason Joe Biden's going to get outed. Okay, sadly, people care more about their pocketbooks than anything else. But the pocketbook issue really deals more with global banking and all of that, which, you know, we can get into on another show. But in November of last year, Poilievre did tell supporters that Trudeau does not have a right to impose his radical gender ideology on our kids and on our schools. He did not elaborate further. So this guy talks the talk, but look, Premier Smith is showing she walks the walk. Daily Mail reported, transgender children under the age of 17 will be barred from undergoing reassignment surgery and puberty blockers and will be banned by anyone under 16 in a draft of new measures announced by the head of Canada's Alberta province. Smith, a member of the United Conservative Party, said the aim was to protect children while also expanding provision for adult trans health care. She has angered officials from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party, which has taken a so-called affirming stance on procedures for children who say they are trans. I don't even fully agree with Danielle Smith. I'm much more conservative than her, but at least she's doing something in protecting the kids. The Daily Mail mostly walks the MSN line on this subject, but it does slip a bit when it writes about a so-called affirming stance on procedures for children who say they are trans. It's a subtle nod to liberal insanity. She goes on to talk about the fact that there are obvious differences between a quote-unquote trans woman and a woman in sports, and that's going to obviously outlay a big advantage for the male. Just think Leah Thomas and others. I should mention that I think Justin Trudeau is one of the most dangerous politicians on the world stage. He is opposed to everything that is good and right, and he lies. I mean, he lies. He doesn't even give a second thought about it. And he looks kind of good, and he's fairly smooth, and so some people just buy into it. But you need to understand, even as bad as Joe Biden is, he's got issues like cognitive decline. So a lot of what's going on there isn't being done by him. Now, he's a tool, and yes, he sucks, and he's the worst president in our history. I get all of that. But this guy up in Canada is a WEF-installed plant, and he's dangerous. So I want to give a big shout out to my Canadian listeners. Thank you for continuing to listen to my show. And check out my sponsor, MyPillow, mypillow.com, promo code Lumberjack for big savings. Peace out.